The whimsical world within Wally's wardrobe. Wally was a young boy with a big imagination. His favorite place in the whole wide world was his grandpa's old wooden wardrobe. Not because of the clothes it contained, but because of a secret only Wally knew. It was a doorway to another world. One rainy Saturday, when the pitter-patter of raindrops was the only sound in the house, Wally decided to visit the world inside the wardrobe. Slipping past coats and scarves, he pushed against the wardrobe's back panel, and suddenly, he was somewhere else entirely. The sky was a lovely shade of lilac, and the ground was squishy, like marshmallow. Huge candy canes stood where trees should be, and instead of birds, colorful butterflies made of ribbon flitted about. Taking a deep breath, Wally could smell chocolate, strawberries, and a hint of fresh vanilla. Before he could take another step, a soft voice called out, "Hello! You must be new here." Turning around, Wally met Mr. Mittens, a cat wearing a dapper suit and a monocle. "Welcome to Wardrobe Wonderland," said Mr. Mittens with a flourish. Amazed, Wally had many questions. Why is the sky purple? Why is the ground so squishy? And where are all the people? Mr. Mittens chuckled. "Oh, everything here is a bit whimsical. The sky changes color based on the mood of the land, the ground is soft to make walking a delightful experience, and as for the people, well, it's mostly creatures here. But, every so often, a child like you stumbles in." Wally spent the day exploring the Wonderland. He rode on a train made of cookies, swam in a jelly lake, and even climbed marshmallow mountains. Every corner held a new delight, a new friend, like Mrs. Bumble, a bee who sang lullabies, or the Jolly Jellies, a group of jelly beans that loved to dance. As the day turned to evening, and the sky shifted from lilac to a soft golden hue, Wally realized it was time to go back. But he felt a pang of sadness at the thought of leaving this magical place. Seeing this, Mr. Mittens approached him. "Don't be sad," he said. "Wardrobe Wonderland is always here, waiting for you. Every time you seek magic, adventure, and a bit of whimsy, just step into the wardrobe." With a heavy heart, Wally stepped back through the wardrobe's doorway, finding himself back in his room. The sound of rain greeted him, but now, it felt like a lullaby, a gentle reminder of the adventures he'd had. Days turned into weeks, and Wally visited Wardrobe Wonderland often. Each visit was a new adventure, a new story. And every time he returned, he'd bring back a token, a ribbon from the butterflies, a tiny candy cane, or a note from one of his whimsical friends. Wally's room slowly transformed. It became a mix of his world and the Wonderland, with tokens of his adventures scattered around, each a reminder of the magic that lay just a wardrobe away. Robbie Rabbit's Remarkable Rocket Ride. In the green fields of Fernwood, where flowers danced to the song of the breeze and birds played Catch Me If You Can, there lived Robbie Rabbit. Robbie wasn't like other rabbits. While they dreamt of the juiciest carrots, Robbie dreamt of the stars. Every night, he'd lie on his back, staring up, imagining what it would be like to touch the twinkling lights. One day, while rummaging through old stuff in his burrow, Robbie found a blueprint. It was a design for a rocket. Excitedly, Robbie decided he would build his own rocket and journey to the stars. With the help of his friends, Sammy Squirrel, who was good with tools, and Betty Bird, who knew a lot about the sky, Robbie began to gather materials. They used old tin cans, wooden planks, and even some shiny foil for the rocket's body. Weeks passed, and their creation started to take shape. It was a sight to behold with its silver body and bright red wings. Robbie named it Star Chaser. The day of the launch arrived. The entire Fernwood gathered. They had never seen a rocket, and a rabbit flying it was even more extraordinary. Robbie wore a little helmet, made from half a walnut shell, and climbed into the Star Chaser. With a 3, 2, 1 from Betty Bird and a push of a button by Sammy, the rocket zoomed up. As Robbie soared higher and higher, Fernwood became a tiny patch of green below. Soon, he was amidst the stars. They weren't just dots of light but huge, glowing orbs, each one with its own color and melody. Robbie landed on a soft, blue star. It felt like cotton candy beneath his feet. The star's inhabitants, tiny glowing creatures called star sprites, welcomed him. They showed Robbie around, teaching him about different stars, galaxies, and even constellations. In return, Robbie shared tales of Fernwood, of meadows filled with flowers, of clear blue streams, and of his friends who helped him reach the stars. Time passed quickly, and soon it was time for Robbie to head back. The star sprites gave him a tiny star as a keepsake. With the Star Chaser roaring to life, Robbie made his way back to Fernwood. He landed safely to an eager and excited crowd. Everyone wanted to hear about his remarkable rocket ride. Robbie narrated his adventures among the stars, of the friendly star sprites, and of the beauty of the universe. He showed them the tiny star, which now hung in his burrow, forever glowing. The Fernwood folks, especially the young ones, looked at the sky differently after that day. It wasn't just a black blanket with dots of light, it was a vast, beautiful unknown, waiting to be explored. And as for Robbie, he was no longer just a rabbit who dreamt of stars, he was Robbie the Rocket Rabbit, the one who reached for the stars and touched them. Tina and the Talking Teapot. In the cozy town of Teaville, where mornings started with the aroma of brewing tea and evenings ended with a comforting cup, Tina lived with her grandmother in a little blue house. Their kitchen held an array of teapots, but there was one teapot, with its deep blue hue and golden patterns, that had never been used. One chilly morning, while Tina's grandmother was away visiting a neighbor, Tina decided to make herself some tea using that beautiful blue teapot. But as she poured water into it, she heard a tiny voice say, "Oh, that's quite refreshing." Startled, Tina looked around, only to realize that the voice came from the teapot itself. Did you just talk?" Tina asked, her eyes wide with surprise. "Why yes," replied the teapot, "I'm Tessa, the talking teapot. It's been ages since someone last used me." Tina, intrigued, decided to make her tea and chat with Tessa. As the water boiled and the tea brewed, Tessa shared tales of the many teas she had brewed and the secrets she held. "You see," began Tessa, "every teapot in Teaville has a story, and I have the magic to share those tales. When you sip the tea I brew, you'll experience a story." Curious, Tina took her first sip. Immediately, she found herself in a lush tea garden, watching workers pick leaves, while laughing and singing. Another sip, and she was in an ancient tea ceremony, feeling the reverence and peace of the moment. Each sip was a different tale, of distant lands, of warm friendships over a cup of tea, and of recipes passed down through generations. The afternoon passed, with Tina listening, sipping, and traveling through countless stories. By the time her grandmother returned, Tina felt like she had been on a grand adventure. She eagerly shared her experience, and to her joy, her grandmother wasn't surprised. "Ah, Tessa," she said with a smile, "I was wondering when she'd share her tales with you." From that day, the blue teapot wasn't just an ornament in the kitchen. It became Tina's companion. Every weekend, she and her grandmother would brew a pot, sipping tea and journeying through stories. Word spread in Teaville about the magical teapot, and soon, friends and neighbors joined the tea sessions. Tessa didn't just share tales, but also knit the community closer, as everyone gathered, listened, and shared their stories. Tina, with her unique teapot, not only discovered the joy of stories, but also the magic of shared experiences. And Teaville wasn't just a town of tea lovers, but a town of storytellers, with a little blue house at its heart, brewing tales one pot at a time.